See, I'm supposed to be working, but this man got me dancing. I guess that's a nod. Um, I think we ready, family. Yeah, let's get to it. Yeah, get the mouth right. Pause. Yeah, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? This is Chase McCurdy coming to you with gallery notes. We are back. You can tell I'm a little excited. We have a CoolCobi mix to start things off, like back in the day. Shout out to CoolCobi. That mix that you heard is available online. I'll put the link somewhere in here. He recently did that and shared it with us. Shout out to Fam doing his thing in Austin, Texas, with his event Sounds Cool, as well as his other work with Remix and all the vibes and all these other folks. You know, Kobe's doing his thing. So shout out to our brother. Shout out to our brother. Always, as always, I'm here with our dear brother Edison Lockwood the second, our media director. Let me get it right. Put some respect on my dog name. Media director and artist here at 33G, filmmaker, someone that we are fortunate and just appreciative to have in Tribe. And our associate director, Samantha Batone, is in here with us while we film a quick gallery notes, getting to work. And we're going to talk today briefly straight art. I'm very excited to bring it to this space in gallery notes to just talk straight artists. And we're going to focus on black artists for a few gallery notes in a row. Realize in speaking with Tribe that we talk a lot of concepts and ideas, and we want to refocus and get back to this space of what we love and what got us into this thing in the first place. So today we're going to get into, for me, a big three of black men in art. Not the big three, there are so many, but these are three artists who I find to be very important in Norman Lewis, Charles White, and Jack Whitten. And next week we're going to come with three ladies, three black women artists who we love and appreciate. So we're going to do it. And we're going to start with, always this grounding for me of the multiverse of black art, as well as, that real timeline. We are not brand new here. We continue in a tradition, and we're going to start with Norman Lewis, who is abstract in that way, one of your fathers of black abstraction. And next week I'll give you a corresponding one of our mothers to black abstraction, but someone who is hugely influential. Today we're going to share and speak from a quote of his while teaching in 1949. So you're talking someone who lived in the early 20th century of the United States. Family, I believe, off the top of my head, and he may have been from the Caribbean islands. Once again, speaking to that diasporic nature of the black experience, and existed in the art world and did a great bit of work to champion black art within the institutional space. We've always had our traditions of expression within culture and community, a way of life. But even the very idea of us having these catalogs that we have to speak to today are those artists of ours who said we don't care necessarily about just being within the institutions, but the institutions will recognize the work that we have done, and we will make sure that we are not written out of history. So shout out to the work done by Norman Lewis and so many others in that way. So in that, we're going to put up some artwork to let y'all see it in the cut while I go to this 1949 thought or quote by Norman Lewis, who once again is a father of abstraction in the black sense, especially. All right. As opposed to reproduction and imitation, art is creation, which comes from the individual and not from the past. It is not the ability to copy the physical qualities of an object, nor to follow closely the theories and interpretation of other artists and teachers, nor is it a mystical, unreasonable compulsion to express. It is rather a spontaneous expression of the individual's own personality in its relation to his social milieu, tempered by knowledge of the aesthetic function of art in society, thoughtful experimentation, and purpose. I want to start with this idea by Norman Lewis because it speaks to some of the inability to singularly define art and some of the contradictory elements of what it means to attempt to be a good artist and to work within one social context and work in this space of expression. I like that he says it is not just the ability to copy physical qualities. While we'll see with someone like Norman Lewis, the ability to reference and render physical qualities can be used very powerfully, it is not simply that something looks like something else when you draw it or paint it. Nor is it purely this mystical expression that can't be explained, right? Even within my world of abstraction, which I very much liken to and a free expression that I work toward freedom, I'm very aware and conscious of the context from which I'm creating, very aware of the world in which I live and the way that I'm situated within the world that I live. And that brings us to this idea of an individual's own personality in relation to their social milieu, right? Your relationship to the world within you live, both on the broad scale, but also in the various small scales, like on the familial level, maybe within a group or organization, within a community, within a city, a state, et cetera, et cetera. So it's this relation of all of this. And once again, we bring it to here, once again, a knowledge of the aesthetic function of art. Once again, that means homework. That means, yes, you enjoy expression, but then there's taking it further to really investigate and understand why certain aesthetic principles work and why others don't. Thoughtful experimentation, trying things out, wanting to grow. And then he finally speaks to this idea of purpose, which for me is that idea of grounding, of your wellspring, why you approach and how you approach whatever it is you do in life. So shout out to dear brother Norman Lewis, dear Baba in that way, Norman Lewis. We appreciate you and your work and your spirit. This comes from Procession, The Art of Norman Lewis, a catalog that came out through the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. Mine is a little bit beat up, but yeah, it's a great resource. I'm gonna try to speed up on this gallery notes because we got a lot cracking, but I'm gonna let this take us right into Charles White. Mid 20th century African American artist. Will have the years up. I don't want to misquote. And you're talking, for me, Charles White is the great example of what can be accomplished through and alongside the depiction of black people, but people in general. As an artist who primarily works in the abstract, I love an artist who uses and renders form in a powerful way. And Charles White speaks to his work, and part of his philosophy of his work is having to tie directly into his relationship with his people, which he very proudly and lovingly claimed as his African American people. An amazing artist who I suggest everyone learn about and look into. Today's work, side note, he is the first artist with whom I saw a piece of work, something he drew in person, and it overwhelmed me with emotion to the point of tears. In a non-romantic or sentimental way. If you know me, I try not to be too sentimental, but very powerful in what he does. Today's work that we're going to discuss is Love Letter Number 3, a work made in 1977. For me, this is a beautiful work to bring up in the context that we will be having our Sisterhood exhibition opening here in the gallery in early June. All works by and for African American women in our community, curated by Samantha Batone, our associate director. And we love our women and men in that way as an institution that chooses to center black people, African descendant people, but who love all, right? But we do focus first and foremost and love our people. And I'm going to share a quote by Frances Barrett White, Charles White's wife, that touches on Love Letter 3, a color lithograph made in 1977. For Charlie, the shell became a symbol. In one of his last color lithographs, there was a strong, radiant head thrust upward, the head of a woman with a conch shell floating above her. I asked Charlie, "Why a shell?" He answered me, "It was one of man's earliest religious symbols. It represents woman." Hugging me, he told me, "This is my tribute to the wonderful woman in my life." It's funny. I normally try not to so much. Today is it's interesting because I'm talking about something so close to me in these artists and these works. But this work and this thought and idea expressed by Charles White's wife, right, with the work created by Charles, a work that was created 2 years before the artist's passing, speaks to that marriage for me that we start getting close to art in both, wow, the crafts, right? Mr. White knows how to make a lithograph. He has done it for years. You could see the mastery of crafts and how much he has done this thoughtful experimentation for years in just the quality of the colors, the quality of the image, etc. Meeting that beautiful intention, really sincerity of spirit and intentionality in practice that speaks to an expression of something far deeper than simply an artwork, but giving us a physical manifestation of that through living that emotion and that experience. Very powerful work and a very powerful idea. I recommend everyone check out Charles White. All right, last but not least, we're going to get into Baba Jack Whitten, and we're going to, give you a couple minutes, not a couple minutes, maybe 30, 45 seconds of Kobe's mix on the outro. But with Baba Jack Whitten, if you know me, you know that I deeply adore Baba Jack Whitten. He made transition in 2018. Someone born in Bessemer, Alabama, I want to say. I could be wrong. Born in Bessemer, Alabama, made transition, I want to say, in and around New York. A brother that wanted to be a doctor in the Tuskegee Airmen. He wanted to be a pilot and a doctor, but ended up as one of our great black artists, dealing in this space of abstraction, thinking, working, and really proving to be a great jazz man in the space of improvisation and allowing the spirit of the black experience to come through in his both dealing with the cosmos, the universal, and the deeply grounded in the here and now. Jack Whitten really displays the black tradition, the black abstract tradition, in a beautiful and profound way. Today we're going to flip to Black Monolith X, Birth of Muhammad Ali, a work completed in 2016. Once again, look at this theme, 2 years before he made transition. It is okay that an artist is not quote unquote appreciated or does not become popular until they are older. Part of that is because we need to see and understand your practice over time to really get an idea of what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and to understand if there is that element of timelessness. And once again, this is when we enter that space of professional art, as opposed to we think everyone in this world should have some form of expression simply for the freedom of their spirit. But when we come to artists and when people try to understand what makes certain artists, quote unquote, valuable, part of our value metric is seeing this artist's work over time and understanding that artist's work in relationship to the world that they lived in over time. So once again, Black Monolith X, birth of Muhammad Ali, 2016, 2 years before Jack Whitten makes transition. And we're going to give you a short quote by Jack Whitten regarding his Black Monolith series of paintings. There are a number of Black monoliths that Jack Whitten created. Pardon me, my mouth is a little dry talking to y'all. I could spend the rest of my life adding to my series of Black monolith paintings. There are so many Black monoliths in the history of African Americans. Our history of survival in America is defined both by the heroic deeds of the collective and of the independent activists working in a variety of disciplines: politics, science, business, music, visual arts, dance, theater, literature, and sports. Their contributions toward the rebuilding of our culture, destroyed through the cruel and inhumane system of slavery, is worthy of tribute. We have survived unbelievable odds, and the reconstruction of our culture continues. The Black Monolith series is my contribution as a painter to memorialize these heroes through the abstract meaning of symbol. I choose abstraction because of its timeless universality. Every human emotion, every hope, every dream, every memory, and finally every narrative can be compressed within abstraction. The passing of Muhammad Ali was especially painful for me. His raw, primal power, channeled through the plasticity of boxing, is something that I seek in painting. Ali was the living example of greatness. Extreme physicality orchestrated by the bluntness of hardcore conceptuality is what makes this painting work. Ali's presence is in the paint. He floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. This painting is an exemplar of compression. I had to go deep into the concept of molecular perception to locate the duality of his birth. Muhammad Ali was born twice, once as a slave and once as a man. He truly qualifies as a Black monolith. The power lies in all forms of Black expression. Abstraction can be difficult because it can easily fall into meaninglessness, especially if you follow a lot of the abstract traditions as narrated by the Western art, culture, and civilization. I'm thinking all the way up to, the Jackson Pollocks of the world. Abstraction can be a powerful place, but it does require work. You can hear in the quotation here by Jack all of the forms of study. You hear a man that has studied within Black and African American history and culture. You hear a study of hard sciences, molecular perception, duality, ideas of consciousness, spirituality, our place within the universe. So abstraction is a place where you really have to create meaning, but also, much like our world of realism and representation, you can make a painting or a drawing of any Black celebrity, but are you investing more? Are you exploring more? Are you spending more time, more care, more attention? So thank you for this kind of a long gallery notes. I get excited because this is really my world, and I'm excited to share more with you of this world of Black art because the possibilities are absolutely endless, and we are so proud of the tradition that we come from in Black visual expression. So I'm gonna slide into these books. I'm gonna flip through for a second. We're gonna let a little bit of that vibe from CoolCobi come back. Once again, I'm Chase McCurdy, the director here at 33 Gallery, aka 33G. We are here with Edison Lockwood II, our media director, filmmaker, and Samantha Batone, our associate director. You're going to hear a mix on the way out by CoolCobi. Much love and respect.
They say I'm crazy. 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 The way you got me open, baby. They say I'm bugging. The way I'm time sweating.